Good morning, everyone. How's everybody today? Okay, I'd like to call this Planning and Development Committee meeting to order at 9 o'clock. And any late items? Late items? Okay, approval of agenda. Recommended that the Planning and Development Committee meeting agenda for July 16, 2025 be approved as circulated. And mover, Deb. Seconder, John. All those in favor? Carried. Adoption of the minutes. Recommended that the minutes of the Planning and Development Committee meeting held on May 21st, 2025 be adopted. Can I have a mover? John, seconder, Deb. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, new business. Before I start, I was just gonna ask a little bit, and maybe Nicole and Dean, we don't seem to get any like recommendations anymore. Like we just get the agenda, like we just kind of get, normally we have, if like, let's say, let's just taking, Hemlock Crescent, we usually get an explanation, so we kind of know we can do some homework before we have the meeting and know what we're doing. So if we just get a set of blueprints of an address, we don't really know what we're even looking at. So just wondered, is there a reason why it's changed, or are we missing something? I'm just curious. Nicole, can you, or I'm not sure. Do we not do Oh, go ahead, June.
Through the chair. Yeah, we used to do a recommendation. I think that's probably a change that we made between Daryl and Dean here. We could go back to making a recommendation, but the PDC is able to make any type of resolution that they want after we've had the discussion. So I think what I'm hearing is you would like to see, I guess, outside of the drawings, some type of like a write-up of what's being presented, or?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, even if it's not a specific recommendation, if it's just the cover letter that explains what it is we're looking at, that would be helpful.
Yeah, because when you don't have, you don't know what you're looking at. Normally we used to meet in the mornings and go do our homework if we hadn't done it during the week or the weekend prior. And we kind of do our homework, and right now, when you just get a set of blueprints, you don't know what you're looking at, or if you get an old development permit or temporary use permit, you don't even know what the ask is or why it's on the agenda. So that's the only reason why. I just thought I'd ask. Okay.
Sorry, just because we're talking housekeeping right now, right? So my other housekeeping is we don't seem to be getting the status report anymore, like that block.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was part of our agenda that said, okay, this is everything that's going on and this is where it's at.
Yep, through the chair for the housekeeping, for the last maybe 4 meetings, what we've talked about in that meeting are the files that we have active. There's nothing else beyond that.
Yeah, and so I think you guys had mentioned that before, but my only comment is sometimes even when it's gone beyond us, it's helpful for us as a committee to know what's happening even, on the building permit side or whatever, just from a standpoint, I get asked questions and you can, because you see stuff's going on and that's fabulous, but it would be good if you actually, knew kind of that it's past that or, like just because I know previously we used to get stats on building permits and, how quickly they're being turned around and as well as the development permit and stuff. And it was the sort of thing that was just good information for us when people are talking to us about how things are going for planning and development in the town. So.
Go ahead, Dean.
We regularly report to council on that. We're actually reporting to council next Wednesday on that. So before the next PDC meeting, we'll bring that report to
just
committee. We're happy to do that following council meeting being presented, the quarterly statistics.
Yeah. If we're just getting circulated, would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Okay, anything else? Housekeeping, okay, new business, moving on to 25-TUP-002, 517 Main Street. Who's gonna take this one? June?
Third, is it maybe easier? Okay, through the chair, we have a temporary use permit application. This is a renewal or the extension request. So there is a two temporary use permit application that was,
Can we shut the door? It's just June's a little soft spoken with the background noise. I can't hear him. Thank you.
or maybe I can. Okay, thank you. Through the chair. We have a temporary use permit extension application that we received. This is the property civically address 517 Main Street. So it's just across the street. There is a two temporary use permit that is currently in effect that is in association with this property. One is from 2202 TUP, which was the very original of the RV site development. Then the other one was a 23-337 TUP, which was an amendment to the original one. So just to briefly explain the original, as the owner is present here, they desire to accommodate RV site. So the zoning during that time, because of it's a C-1, which wouldn't allow the establishment of a RV or trailer park setting, they apply for the temporary use permit, which was applied. However, there was a little bit of hardship in their operation, so they applied for the amended TUP, which provided for them to operate year-round, and some of the minor tweaks in relation to the infrastructure and the landscaping requirement there. So now we are at the point where the original TUP is about to lapse, which is coming in this September. So they are desiring to do an extension application with this one. So it's going to be, what they are proposing is exactly the same setup, doesn't have any amendment to make, so that they can simply do a extension rather than lapsing of the existing TUP and then the reapplication of the entirety.
Okay. Okay, thank you, June. Comments, questions? Go ahead, John.
So you're saying the whole reason behind the TUP was it's not the correct zoning, right?
Mhm.
Now, is there any possibility, I don't know if it's any interest in them, because they've done a great job on like the layout, on keeping it tidy and everything. Is there not a way that we can actually make it an accessory use to the hotel?
Yeah, go ahead, June.
So through the chair, this is a technical possibility, but if the proponent were to greatly desire so, in the future, they may attempt to apply for the site-specific regulation. So there are some applications at this district work before where we have provided the site-specific regulation, which what it does is that if there is a if there is a use that is not directly fitting into the specific property, but if there were to be a good rationales and then a good remediation measure that would enable the proponent to accommodate that proposed setting, then site-specific regulation may be the apt instrument for one to consider. There is another method which could be property owner's discretion in the future, like through the subdivision or through the complete rezoning of the property. But just in relation to the your question, which I interpreted as is there any relatively more feasible method to keep it as is, then site-specific regulation, which is kind of mini zoning bylaw amendment, would be deemed feasible.
So I don't know if that's something that you guys might be interested in, possibly, because you put a lot of work and a lot of money into that. And another 3 years is just coming from the, like, working the trades, the amount of money you guys spent on that, still another 3 years is gonna be a hard time to recuperate. So I'm wondering if there is a way to.
Yeah, go ahead, June.
Through the chair. The one aspect that I would like to also mention about this extension request is that because of the original TUP was issued, which gave them 3 years. So once this one is extended and approved, then it's going to provide them additional 3 years. So after that point, should the property owner were to come back in the future and attempted to do an additional extension or attempt to reapply for the similar scope of the work, it's not going to be possible. So this is technically the last extension, so last 3 years that they can get from operating this exactly the same setup.
As part of the bylaw.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Deb.
Sorry, so just, I'm not sure I'm clear. So say for argument's sake, we agree, or we recommend to council the extension of the TUP. That wouldn't be limiting them at all in terms of trying this other, because
Other avenue.
this other avenue within that 3 years.
Go ahead, yeah.
Thank you, through the chair. So once this application is approved by the council, it will going to provide temporary use permit, extended permit to the proponent. So they will be able to operate additional 3 years. Or the council can technically make a recommendation to reduce that. It's a maximum duration of the permit is 3 years. So they can make a recommendation saying that why don't we give only like 1.5 years? That's a theoretical possibility.
We have Rakesh and Rob in the galley. You have any comments? You guys, would you like to see a rezone or would you just want the?
We had some good discussion with June and Dean. And within the structure of the bylaws right now, our only way we can go is to apply for this 3-year extension. And at that time, that gives the control still with the development committee and the council and the district, but allows us to continue with the market and then look at potential use of that property rate in 3 years, within the next 3 years. Right now, the focus for us needs to be on the undeveloped piece of property on Main Street for an income driver. We've got the RV park as an income driver, nice right now, and it's just getting traction. And so we need to focus on developing another 1 or 2 income drivers on that property and not on something that's already developed.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Dean.
And after meeting with the owner and discussing with him, this would seem to be the best application that would just give them the time to allow the market to adjust a bit more, allow the property to create some additional revenue that's already established. And then they'll revisit it. This affords another 3 years of time buffer to be ready to do what they want to do in the next application.
Okay. Yeah, anybody else have any questions? Okay, anybody would like to make a recommendation?
Recommend, well, we don't have anything written down, eh? So recommend that we recommend to council to extend the TUP an additional 3 years.
Okay, thanks, Deb. Seconder? John, okay, all those in favor? Okay, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to say, Rakesh or Rob?
Not yet.
Okay. Thank you, great job over there.
Yep.
Place looks wonderful and lots of good comments in the community. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, all righty. Okay, moving on to item B, 810 Hemlock Crescent South. Who has that one? June again. How about that, June? Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Through the chair. Just quickly going through the where this property is located to. So this is from 810 Hemlock Crescent South. We see that there is a orange outline property. It's a neighborhood where lots of low density residential but relatively newer houses are located to. This application is fairly straightforward. So this application originally started with the building permit application, which was approved. However, there was a necessity for the proponent to acquire a variance because of the construction error. So what had happened was that from the original drawing, the proponent were required to meet the 3 meter front lot line setback as per the zoning bylaw. However, through the construction, they found out a relatively minor discrepancy, the construction error, that their actual foundation is at 2.74 meter, not meeting the 3 meter. So although it's a little slight, it would have been ideal. It is always ideal practice to address the minor variance if ever possible. So that's the reason why the proponent is requesting the variance to remediate the unintended construction error. So that's the only variance that the proponent is requesting. And I believe the foundation at this point is pretty much already poured. So there was a explanation in terms of a rationale from the proponent that there is no going back at this point of time. So they really desire to acquire this variance.
Okay. Thank you, June. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, the house is actually built now and it's a minor one. I think we've had a couple up at Bayview and a few places in town where they've
Oops.
had a mistake or used the wrong pins, but go ahead, Dean.
The committee, we wouldn't bring this type of minor variance to the committee, except that we were already having a meeting anyways. We had the Paradise on, so we've added this to the agenda. So we wouldn't ask the committee to meet for this variance alone. So this is considered a minor variance, but since PDC was happening anyways, we put it on the agenda. We would not host a PDC meeting for this type of variance because it's so minor. We felt that it was, as there was a meeting happening anyways, we bring it just for information.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Go ahead, Dan.
Through the chair, and what we've done as well is because the council meeting was canceled in August, the August 13th, we've already sent out notifications for this application and the next two to go to council next week.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, no, that's that happens. June, go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. Just the one thing that I would like to note, there is we may get some questions from the public later that why we are saying 5 meter instead of require 5 meter for the front setback in this property, not 3. That is because of we have a size specific regulation applicable to a little bit of that Hemlock Crescent South neighborhood that it appears that original developer of that time acquired a size specific regulation when that area or neighborhood were developed back then. So instead of the 5, which used to be 6 meter before SSMUH bylaw that we worked on last year, it would be required to ensure 5 meter. However, thanks to the already acquired size specific regulation, the primary dwelling within that neighborhood is allowed to be constructed close to the Hemlock Crescent South. So therefore 3 meter to propose 2.74 meter.
Thank you, June. Anybody else have any other questions?
Okay, just one other comment. We previously informed council, the staff are working on a delegation bylaw. And this would be the scale of variance that would be delegated to staff. Go through a full DDP process. It would be type of variance that we'd be asking council to delegate to our Director of Development Services to be able to issue these types of permits.
Yep, good. Speed up.
Speed it up, yeah.
All right, that's great. Okay, well, moving right along. Thanks for the bringing that to the committee. Moving right along, where are we? Item C, I guess.
See,
918 Hemlock Crescent South. Who has that one? June, you're just a busy person.
Moving on to the next discussion, which is 819 Hemlock Crescent South. It's still in that neighborhood, just across the street. So just jumping onto the infographic. So this is where the subject property is located to, which abuts to the Hemlock Crescent South, which serves as its frontage. And then on the back, there is a Highway 97A, although the paving portion of the 97A is not directly abutting, but we know that in reality, there's a little bit of a existing trail that goes through that area, which would abuts to the rear parcel line of that subject property. So for this application, just in a brief summarize, brief summary, what proponent desire to build is a larger garage with the slightly fancier bathroom in the accessory structure. So this again is related to the building permit application. So this application originally was started as a building permit application, conventional ones. However, through the review of a permit, staff identified that there is a necessity for the variance as the building is larger than what is permitted. And then also that the building contains a bathroom that is larger than what is permitted, and that it also contains the shower, which according to our bylaw, it's not endorsed. So the proponent is desiring to request the community for construction of a larger garage with the bathroom that is larger than what is permitted by the bylaw, and also containing the shower. Originally, the proponent requested the height variances too, which would have been 7.9 meter. That was proposed height for this structure. And through the internal conversation with the staff advised the proponent that height is or could be the driving factor for successfulness of this application, as it would affect heavily to the residential neighborhood atmosphere, because it would look massive, although it would be sited in the backyard portion of the property. So staff recommended the proponent to reduce the height so that the variance is required to, which proponent agreed to. One aspect that I would like to mention, this is again related to the site-specific regulation that this neighborhood acquired back then when the property was being developed. The bylaw currently permits the accessory structure height to be 6 meter. If it's for the coach house, then it could go up to 8 meter, but this is the accessory structure, simply a garage that doesn't have a dwelling. The maximum height that this structure can go is a 6 meter. However, there is a site-specific regulation that enables the accessory structures along with the neighborhood to exceed meter more. So that's the reason why the proponent will going to adjust garage height to be 7 meter, although the bylaw stipulates in general needs to be 6 meter. At the calculation and the review of this application, this footprint variance request is deemed relatively reasonable in a sense that when we consider this type of application, one of the major factor or consideration that we render is whether this provision of the variance would harm or derive the inequal impact to the residential aspect of that area. So even with the enlarged garage footprint, because of it remains smaller than that of the principal dwelling, which is the house there, and that it is the increase of the footprint is at the reasonably tolerable area, as it would not exceed or be close to the maximization of development density there. It is deemed reasonable. And regarding the bathroom, the required is a 3 square meter, which is relatively small. It just means that you can have a toilet and sink. That's pretty much it that you get for the washroom in the accessory structure. However, the intent of our bylaw having that clause is to make sure that we are not making the structure that is accessory too habitable. However, because of this application will remain truly as an accessory garage structure, there is lesser worriment on this turning into something that is habitable or dwelling in the future. Thus, that request to make a bathroom that is larger and containing a shower is a relatively reasonable. We have circulated this application to the internal department. It's still ongoing, so updated referral feedback will be presented at the council. One feedback that we got so far, which is from FireSmart, is that the rear of the property, there are lots of coniferous tall trees along with the trails, providing lots of shade. So there was a concern from a fire smart coordinator that they would prefer to see thorough fire smart principles and measure to be rendered once this building is constructed, so that it doesn't pose a fire or the wildfire threat to that well systems.
Okay. Did you? Questions, concerns, anybody? Go ahead, John.
Not much of a concern. I don't see an issue in that large of a shop personally to throw in a shower. Like my wife would honestly appreciate if I could have a shower in my shop, because then you're not dragging the mess through the house, like. You know, and he's not going for a giant, you know, king suite bathroom. He's going for probably just a stand-up stall shower. So I definitely agree that that's kind of not necessary. And majority for the fire smart wise, the building, it's probably gonna be hardy board judging by the neighborhood. So it's, I'm not sure where you have too much of an issue personally on the fire hazard, because the neighborhood's all, I think, pretty much hardy board.
I agree. Go ahead, June.
Thank you. Through the chair, in relation to the fire smart discussions, according to our official community plan, pretty much entire community, we are within that 2 kilometer buffer area, if not wildfire hazard area. So this particular location is within the 2 kilometer buffer area. So what it means is that if there were to be an event of a wildfire and an embers or airborne particles were to travel along with the wind, and if that were to land on certain structures, then it could be quite vulnerable. And that's the reason why we have a section of the OCP that recommends the fire resistance materials or fire resistance, like a metal roof, to be used in relation to that. So that is something that council and or the community may consider to impose as a development variance conditions, or that is something that the building inspection stage at the future building application stage can address it.
Okay, right. Yeah, my comments are, I mean, that whole subdivision actually is turned into like a, really nice subdivision, and having whether it be oversized or over height shop. I mean, I think I remember Dorn coming to this council for a variance on his, and he was backed up against a 2-story house, the Weber's house, and it didn't affect it at all, and the Weber's weren't affected. And they had no concerns at the time when the development permit went through. So yeah, no, I think it's all doable, and yeah, no, that's really good. Dean, go ahead.
Should comment about the fire smart, staff do bring these up as much about a specific application, but that's really not the overall perspective. The perspective is to try and educate the community as well and promote fire smart initiatives in the community, keep the community safe. So we don't necessarily find an issue with a specific application where this needs to be fixed kind of scenario, but we do include it very often with those types of applications. Simply as an education process, remind people we do have a fire smart coordinator. There's reports going on all the time. They're always assessing. We have summer students that work with that group. So they're trying to make our community more resilient. So it's a promotion opportunity to remind the committee and council and the overall community that we have resources there, trying to make the community safer and encourage people to do that.
Great. Yeah, you bet. Good comment there, Dean. Okay, everybody's good. Nobody has any other concerns? All right, well, moving right along. We'll head on to item D, which is.
Are we making a recommendation about that one?
Your recommendation?
We did about the last one.
The committee can make a recommendation whether you want to.
Okay, that's why those recommendations at the beginning are important.
Yeah.
Sure, not sports.
Okay, John?
I recommend that we support the 25, sorry, we're
DV
25 DVP 005 Hemlock
006.
06.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. DVP 006, 819 Hemlock Crescent South.
Okay, the seconder? Deb? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item D, 712 Con Street.
Yeah.
That's Nicole.
Yeah, through the chair. Thank you. This one's pretty similar. So a couple variances for 712 Con Street. It's that tiny parcel just down from the fire hall there. So the applicant has already gotten a building permit to place a home and a deck. And they also constructed a utility shed that didn't require a building permit. It was too small. But I should note that the utility shed should meet our zoning bylaw setbacks. So during construction, the owner advised the district of two matters. So when the deck supporting pillars were placed for the deck attached to the new home, and we're in the front 5-meter front setback. So we're sitting at about 4.81 meters. I think if you go down a bit there, June, for one of them, and then 4.78 meters. So just shy of the 5-meter front setback. And then as required by BC Hydro, a utility shed was constructed in the back of the lot on a cemented pad. And unfortunately, that shed has been placed within the 1.5-meter interior setback, and we're sitting at 0.76, so it's quite close. I have some notes here because I know our building official has had quite a few conversations with the applicant about their options. And so if I could just add this from the building official. So she said that due to the shed's proximity to the property line, we could require a building permit only because it doesn't meet the zoning bylaw setbacks. So we can go either way. It can be included or not. If we do include it, we can require the fire resistant rating on the one side where it doesn't meet the setback requirement. We can also include that in the development variance permit. I think either way, it could be covered and the applicant is aware of that. And then when she did an inspection, I think it was earlier this week, the utility shed has been constructed with a window, and the window is facing the side that doesn't meet the setback, unfortunately. So that window sounds like they can have a window in the utility shed, it just can't be on that side that's not meeting the setback. So some work to do there with the applicant. So I think at this time, we're kind of suggesting that maybe we would include the utility shed in the building permit. We'll cover the fire resistant rating, get the window moved to make sure that anything that we're concerned about with interior side setbacks could be addressed. And then, yeah, I got comments back from Fire Smart as well, and they just recommended they'd love to see the 1.5, but if not, please do the fire resistant materials. And from what I understand, it's hardy board as well. So those are the two setbacks, front setback from 5 to 4.78, and then the interior side from 1.5 to 0.76.
Okay, thanks, Nicole.
Yeah.
Questions, concerns? Maybe, John?
Were the sonotubes or whatever for supporting the deck, they're already put in? Or they're already put in?
Yeah.
Once again, it's probably just an honest mistake. I believe that, you know, being that close to the limit, that's. Honest mistake.
Yeah, through the chair. I mean, obviously we appreciate when owners come to us after something's been constructed and it doesn't quite meet. And so just want to thank the applicant for doing that with us, because it is, the front setback's pretty minor, and then it brought in the utility shed, which is a little bit more of a headache, but I think we can work it out with them.
Okay, all right. Anybody else?
Work it out.
Yeah, I just, how far along is the utility shed?
Through the chair, from what I understand, concrete pad already constructed. We've got photos of it, windows in.
29 inches. Too close.
Okay,
But it's complete.
Pillars, the furthest one is 9 inches too far.
okay, thank you. All right, so you're looking for a recommendation? Anybody like to make a recommendation?
Recommend that staff
Work with the proponent?
works with the proponent to.
Go ahead, Dean.
So the committee would be making a recommendation to either support or not support the application as a recommendation to council. So whether the committee would support the application proceeding to council, provide a supporting recommendation to council. But that's the committee's function, is to provide recommendation to council.
Okay, yeah, support, recommended
Deb made
support.
that motion, Don seconded, all those in favor, carried. That's great. Okay, moving on to item E, Silver Sands Road, verbal update. Who's that?
Yep, through the chair.
Cool.
Okay, so we met with the strata president. after their AGM. I know they wanted to wait to that to make sure that they were still in place, meeting with the appropriate people. We've done that. During the meeting, June brought up some pretty good points for the strata to consider in their own future development. And one of them was more about their own sewer and water capacity, because one of the applications we recently saw, I think, was a washroom or a shower, which would increase or make impact on their own infrastructure within the strata, because of course, at the property line is when everything turns over to them. So they were mindful of that and will be moving forward. So right now, we don't really have any active planning applications in Silver Sands. We do have one building permit that's on hold. We've let the owner know that they would require a variance for the deck that they're proposing, but they're not in a rush. And so right now, it's kind of continuing business as usual. When we get in an application, we're also looking for that strata form that we've created with them that says the strata is aware of what they're doing, and they've approached us for the appropriate permit. I guess, yeah, the idea behind that is if the strata saw something that maybe they needed to take a closer look at, like additional capacity on their own system, then they could. And then have that conversation with us too, if there's anything that we can help them out with in that sense. So I guess in our last conversation with the strata, just left it open for now. So we're still willing to hear from them, the future vision for the park, which could mean revisiting that RVP 1 zone and some of the general regulations in the zoning bylaw. I would say, I think in my opinion, I feel like the strata is waiting for us to tell them what they want. And that's where it's left off. So I let them know that I was going to provide this update today to the planning committee, and then we're an open book at this point.
All right. Can I ask Nicole, when this all came to a head, it was to do with that one application with that Kelly. Did that ever finish? Do we know if that's finished? That's the one where he was doing the carport?
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, that one's been completed. I think I don't know if that one was the one that triggered the conversation with the strata. It was the one with the bathroom on that corner lot, if you remember in the strata.
Yeah, it was a Kelly one there where we had to meet in the.
Yes,
In the clubhouse, yeah.
that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if he ever finished his project. Go ahead, Dean.
Sure, and the purpose of this discussion was to try and get the strata to take ownership of their membership and us not be the adjudicator of internal strata discussions.
Yeah.
So I think that message has been received with the forum, and now having to go formally to the strata to get approval to proceed. That process will help us, we feel, in the future with owners not going to the district instead of talking to their neighbors.
Yeah.
That's where we want to kind of avoid being, putting as the peanut butter in the sandwich of just neighbors fighting with each other. That was what was trying to be avoided. So it sounds like that's going to help. And if this becomes a bigger issue to go forward, we'll push the strata harder to actually take some control.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's really good. Good information. Thank you. Okay, anything else on that one? Nope. All right, moving on to item F, which is the official community plan, verbal update.
Yep, through the chair, it's me. So for the OCP, since our last meeting in May, we've done a ton of stuff. Been doing all of the engagement, OCP in a week. So in that, we had seniors workshop with Urban Systems, did the community kickoff open house and barbecue at the Red Barn, some pop-up booths in town, including at Askew's, and then a second public open house at the Red Barn. Also attended the farmer's market. It was so rainy that.
Yeah, that was.
But I just want to.
Bad day.
Because they kindly let us just like tuck away into their entrance with Urban Systems, and Catherine from Urban Systems handed out surveys to people as they came in. They had a little snack and a bevy, and then came out with their survey and gave it back to her. So that's great. We actually got some pretty good responses on that. Right now, the online OCP survey is still open. It was going to close, but we've extended it to Monday, July 21st. So there's still an opportunity for that. There's QR codes around town. And I just wanted to thank June and recognize his dedication to the OCP review, because he's super passionate about getting engagement from the community. And so he personally visited different locations in town and provided them with the survey, including RCMP, ambulance services, the fire station, and he went to the senior center, put up something on their info bulletin board. So just thank you for that, June, and trying to get as much input as possible from the community for our update. Coming up next, Urban Systems will be presenting on the findings. So we haven't heard them yet, but that is set for the committee of the whole on July 23rd. So if you're interested in hearing what the community has said about the OCP review and what their ideas are next week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good to hear.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, thanks, Nicole.
Yep.
Any questions, anybody? Oh, good. Just got a question about, and I don't know if it's doable, and Dean and Nicole, you can kind of. Do we have anywhere, any statistics that show us, yeah, I know the OCP doesn't, but how our percentage of our land is residential, percentage of our land is ALR, percentage of our land is commercial, highway commercial. And I was just curious on that, because I know I kind of missed the boat on the UBCM, where I think the deadline's passed to book meetings with the ministers, or maybe not the ministers, but staff about talking about our highway corridor. And I did bring it up to the urban systems in regards to that corridor along the Trans-Canada Highway that is pretty much all ALR land, almost. And any way we could talk to them about, maybe 200 meters on either side of the line or something like that being commercial, because it really hampers our growth, our highway commercial growth, and it'd be good to talk to them about that. So I was just curious about the percentage of those statistics about ALR percentage in our community is pretty high for the size of our community, I think anyway. So Dean, can you?
As part of the urban systems contract, that we'll do a GIS analysis of our land use within the community. So we'll be able to generate that data from our GIS process as far as how many acres of land or how many hectares of land we have that's in each category of the OCP, including the ALR and so forth like that. So we'd be able to generate that data. But further to what you're discussing though is more related to ALR and ALC release of land along the corridor. It's kind of a separate discussion. It wouldn't come through the OCP. It would have to be a direct application by the district to the ALC. To date, the ALC has expressed no interest anywhere in BC on allowing that to happen. Whether that will change in the future is yet to be seen. Province has not weighed in on ALC and ALR lands being released for housing or other initiatives. Commercial has been very, very challenging to get released. Housing has been one that was expected might happen, but the province has not gone down that road yet.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what comes back from the surveys and the conversations they've had with people, because I keep getting some people that do own land on the highway, an older gentleman, and he wants to participate in the workshop and stuff like that. So it'll be good to have them here. Okay, anything else? Anybody else? Yeah.
If I was in the gallery, I would be asking a couple of public input questions. So I'm not sure what's totally kosher here, but but since I'm here, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do that. So if I could just, for my information, wearing my Communities in Bloom hat now, just wondering if we've got any, so first question, update on the healing center, and because I'm just like the gardens. Council, I was told that I would be able to get to work on that, and I'm hearing that maybe I can't, and it's kind of a planning, landscaping thing.
Yes, go ahead.
Update, the health center going to be going to council next week as far as
Okay.
the building itself. The immediate landscaping directly adjacent to it is going to be done this year. It's the landscape piece where they've done the disturbance for building the building.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the site is going to be a community consultation process as was promised when the original project began. So
Okay.
that'll begin later this fall, start to have workshops with the community. And we'll have that whole process on what's going to happen with the landscaping within that area. And then we'd have welcoming for Communities in Bloom to be part of that process.
Yeah, because I've already got some stuff ready for it that, because that I had told council previously.
So it's still on the radar. It's sort of, we want to get everybody in. We want to get it operational, get it open, and tenants utilizing it. And then we're gonna begin that process. of
Okay,
consultation.
perfect. I'll bring that up at next council meeting when I'm sitting out there. Any updates on Mountain Park or KFC or like, it's just, it seems to look even worse than it did when we said it was being dealt with a couple months ago,
Property has
so,
gone to the receiver through the bankruptcy process.
yeah.
Receiver has been actually pretty good about getting back to us, communicating with us. This week, they removed the large blue bin that was being filled with garbage in the community, so they removed the bin. They've done a bunch of repair work, put better barricades at the entrance, and they've hired a local contractor to do all the weed whacking and landscape components.
Clean up and,
So that's going to be done in the next week. I'm not sure what the schedule of the contractor is to do that work, but it's supposed to be done. this
okay,
week.
good, because yeah.
There were some repairs that had to be taking place in the parking lot for safety reasons.
Mhm.
Those have all been done now, so water's been turned off to the building, services disconnected. Until there's a new purchaser for that property, it's just gotta be
Batten down.
put to bed into a safe way. So that people can't break into it, people can't get access to it, and people can't get hurt on the property.
Perfect. Yeah, because it's just, obviously it's the entrance to the town in terms of that highway intersection. And you can see all the garbage piled up there. So it's kind of, and also are they going to do anything about covering the signs? I get barricades are great, but if the signs were covered, so.
Still slows traffic in the circle.
Yeah, because people, people are thinking that it's
Technically, by
there.
law, we're not allowed to have signage either.
It's hard to balance because we don't want to cover it in plywood. Right?
Yeah.
It's plywood it over, we don't want the windows and doors and signs to be plywood and make it look like a completely abandoned building, so it's kind of a delicate balance. We got them to, what was problematic is they still had all the lights on.
Yeah,
The gas price was still showing in about 10 cents cheaper than anybody else.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
The low price, so we got that corrected, so they are working with us. I'm expecting in another couple of months, we'll have the receiver actually go to marketplace. And there will be interest in the property.
Yeah.
Gas stations do have interest out there.
Yeah.
Whether the actual pieces of restaurants would stay in a future project or not, we're not sure.
Mhm. Can I ask on the weed whacking point? There's lots of weed whacking that could be happening in the back, but that really focal point of the roundabout, that you come around the corner where the weeds are and it comes right to the BC Hydro vault there. There's a whole bunch of scrub trees that are, they just, once they keep getting bigger and bigger, and before you know it, there'll be massive trees and so I'm just wondering, that's our responsibility because it's on the roundabout, or is that highways, or is that their responsibility to weed whack that little slope there?
So a little bit complicated in that we still own the right of way there. So it's technically, it's their obligation of the developer, landscape completed. It's their obligation to maintain it. They've committed to that and they're gonna do the maintenance for it. Whatever works go in there would happen as part of a future redevelopment of the site. So when the new owner comes in, we'll work with them on how that's gonna be. Hesitant to see the district put any monies into landscaping there just to have a new owner come in and do something. So we're gonna hold tight, get it maintained to the minimum standard of the bylaw. So it's not a nuisance. And then we'll work with the new owner when they come in on property.
Good. Okay, thank you very much. All right, anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to public input. Anybody online? No? Good, June.
Weren't you gonna come up with something really controversial?
Yeah.
A lot of people coming to our PDC meetings.
Oh, we had a little bit of an audience today. It was not too bad. Great. Okay, well, I guess there's nothing else. Thank you very much. Thanks staff for putting all that together and really appreciate it. I have a motion to adjourn. Oh, sorry.
It's interesting, the conversation about the fire,
Smart.
guard and fire smart. I came from the south of Okanagan where it's very dangerous. And it's good on a second list to be aware of ash and fall and in case of an event of fire. So it's good to see and fully aware, but if I may speak about my situation, I'm a little surprised that a triple glazed window would be mentioned. I fully caught me off guard as an inspector. mentioned the window on the east side of my hydro shed.
Yeah,
She did speak to me about a vented soffit, which I have no problem in sealing off or replacing with solid plywood or non-vented soffit. But the window, I don't stand.
yeah, go ahead, Dean.
So the window is considered an opening. So it's not fire smart, it's DC building. So you have an opening on a wall, it's different, having just a wall as far as fire from building to building. So because you're close to the property line, we can't assume that the neighbor's not gonna build a building up to their setback. So there's no building there today. The spatial separation under BC building code between two buildings be too close, which is why you can't have it. We can't presuppose the neighbor will not build an accessory building too. They have the right to. So you have to armor essentially just by moving the window goes. Yeah, kudos to fireproofing.
Yeah, we got a good program,
Mhm.
fire department. They really look after the community. Okay, looking for an adjournment. Do you have a motion? Deb?
Motion to adjourn.
John? All those in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Coming.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. That's good.
Are you able to resend those invites? That Ian and I are both having issues.
Yeah, I looked at that.
Oh, yeah.